Jai Hind students, welcome to my YouTube channel. Students, I'm going to tell you about the three simple rules in life. Rule number one, if you don't go after what you want, then you will never ever have it. Rule number two, if you don't ask, the answer will be always no. And students, rule number three, if you don't step forward, then you're always in the same place. With that positive note, students, let's begin today's session. Today we are going to discuss a very interesting case of elastic collision in one dimension. In my previous videos, we have discussed about types of collision, elastic collision, inelastic collision and perfectly inelastic collision. Students, elastic collision, we are aware, it is that type of collision in which the momentum as well as the kinetic energy of the interacting bodies remain conserved or it remain constant. Now in elastic collision in one dimension, what happens is the two colliding bodies after suffering collision tend to move along the same straight path. So that is where the collision is said to be one dimensional. Now here consider two bodies A and B, right? Suppose body A is of mass m1, body B is of mass m2 and they are moving with velocities u1 and u2 respectively. Obviously students, the two bodies will collide only when u1 is greater than u2. It is only then the collision between these two bodies will take place, isn't it? This is the case during collision and this is the case after collision. So what I have considered is, after collision, suppose the body A attains a final velocity v1 and body B after collision attains a final velocity v2, right? And these two bodies will separate after collision only if v2 is greater than v1. Clear, students? Okay, now what to do is, let us find out an expression for the final velocities, and before that we need to prove a very important article, a very important result actually. That is, we are going to prove that the relative velocity of approach of the two colliding bodies before collision is exactly equal to the relative velocity of separation of the two colliding bodies after collision, right? So let's try to prove this particular fact. So for that, as I've mentioned, since we are dealing with elastic collision, therefore the most important point is the momentum as well as the kinetic energy remain conserved. So applying conservation of momentum, we get m1 u1 vector, momentum is a vector quantity, plus m2 u2 vector. This is the sum of the initial momentum of the system before collision. It is equal to the sum of the momentum of the two bodies after collision. It will give us m1 v1 vector plus m2 v2 vector. Now since students, u1, u2, v1, v2 all are in the same direction, isn't it? Means we are dealing with one-dimensional case. When after suffering collision, the bodies tend to move along the same initial path. So since u1, u2, v1, v2 all are in the same direction, therefore we can write it in the scalar form. m1 u1 plus m2 u2 is equal to m1 v1 plus m2 v2. We can also rearrange the terms, isn't it? So what we can do is m1 u1, you can take this term over here. So what you get is u1 minus v1 is equal to m2. If you take this term over here, then the sign will get changed. m2 is common, so we'll get v2 minus u2. Put this as equation 1. Clear, students? Okay. Now let's apply the law of conservation of kinetic energy. Actually, it is only during elastic collision that the kinetic energy remain conserved, isn't it? No part of the kinetic energy get converted into any other form of energy. It is only then the kinetic energy is conserved. So therefore, since in an elastic collision, kinetic energy is also conserved, thus initial kinetic energy of the system before collision, that is, kinetic energy is half mv square, so initial kinetic energy of the system before collision, it would be half m1 u1 square plus half m2 u2 square. It should be exactly equal to the final kinetic energy of the system after collision, that is half m1 v1 square plus half m2 v2 square, right? Half is common, it get cancelled out, so therefore we get m1 u1 square plus m2 u2 square is equal to m1 v1 square plus m2 v2 square. Or students, rearranging the terms, what we get is m1 u1 square. If you take this term over here, the sign will get changed, so we will get minus v1 square. It is equal to m2, here we are left with v2 square, and this term when it comes over here, the sign will get changed, so it will be minus u2 square. Students, put this as equation number 2. Now what to do is, m1 in equation 1 and m2 are common in equation 1 and 2. So what to do is, let us divide equation 1 from equation 2, right? So dividing equation 1 from equation 2, we get look students, it is m1 u1 square minus v1 square divided by, it would be m1 u1 minus v1, isn't it? And on the right hand side what we get is m2, it is v2 square minus u2 square divided by m2 v2 minus u2. So what we get is u1 square minus v1 square divided by u1 minus v1, and it is equal to v2 square minus u2 square divided by v2 minus u2, which further implies that students, it is in the form of a square minus b square. It is a minus b into a plus b, isn't it? So it can be written as u1 minus v1 into u1 plus v1 divided by u1 minus v1, right? This is also in the form of a square minus b square. So this may also be written as v2 minus u2 multiplied by v2 plus u2 divided by v2 minus u2. u1 minus v1 get cancelled, v2 minus u2 get cancelled. So what we are left with is u1 plus v1 is equal to v2 plus u2, which further implies that u1 minus u2 is equal to v2 minus v1. So students, this is a very, very important result. u1 minus u2, it represents the relative velocity of approach of the two colliding bodies before collision. v2 minus v1, it represents the relative velocity of separation of the two colliding bodies after collision. So what we have proved is, during elastic collision in one dimension, the relative velocity of approach of the two colliding bodies before collision is exactly equal to the relative velocity of separation of the two colliding bodies after collision. So this is a very, very important result. Clear students? Again I repeat, from this what we have proved that in one-dimensional elastic collision, the relative velocity of approach, that is u1 minus u2, is exactly equal to the relative velocity of separation, that is v2 minus v1, after collision. Okay, now students, let us find out the expression for the final velocities of body A and body B. So our objective is to find out the expression for V1 and V2, right? As discussed earlier, we have proved that U1 minus U2 is equal to V2 minus V1. U1 minus U2 is the relative velocity of approach of the two interacting bodies before collision, and V2 minus V1 is the relative velocity of separation of the interacting bodies after collision, right? So, as per the conservation of momentum, we were already aware of this equation, isn't it? We know that the initial momentum of the system, which is m1u1 plus m2u2, is equal to the final momentum of the system, that is m1v1 plus m2v2. Also students, in order to find out the expression for v1, we need to substitute the value of v2 from here, right? From say equation 3. From equation 3, V2, it can be written as U1 minus U2 plus V1, isn't it? Now, let's substitute this value of V2 over here and get the expression for V1. Therefore, M1U1 plus M2U2 is equal to M1V1 plus M2. In place of V2, you can write U1 minus U2 plus V1, right? Let's keep on solving it. So what we get is M1U1 plus M2U2, it would be equal to M1V1 plus, let's open up the bracket, plus M2V1. So now let us rearrange the terms and get the expression for V1. So what we can do is M1U1, right? You can take this term over here, so the sign will get changed, minus M2U1 plus M2U2. This term, when it comes over here, the sign will get changed, so it will be plus M2U2. And over here we are left with M1 plus M2, isn't it? M1 plus M2 and V1 like this. Therefore students, what we get is, here M1 minus M2, it can be taken as common, U1 plus M2U2 plus M2U2, that will give us twice M2U2. It is equal to M1 plus M2 into V1. Therefore students, the formula for the final velocity of body A after collision, it is equal to M1 minus M2 into U1 plus twice M2U2 divided by M1 plus M2. So this is a very, very important formula which you need to remember as well. This is the formula which we'll be using frequently in solving numericals based on elastic collision in one dimension. So this is the formula for V1. Similarly students, we can easily find out the expression for the final velocity of body B after collision. For that students, what you need to do is, from equation 3, now let us substitute the value of V1. So V1 over here, it would be equal to V2 minus U1 plus U2. Now let's substitute this value of V1 in this equation, say in equation 4. So substituting the value of V1 in equation 4, we get, okay, it is M1U1 plus M2U2 is equal to M1V1. In place of V1, write V2 minus U1 plus U2 plus M2V2, right? Let's keep on solving it. So what we get is M1U1 plus M2U2 it is equal to m1 v2 minus m1 u1 plus m1 u2 plus m2 v2, or m1 u1 here minus m1 u1. When it comes over here, the sign will get changed, so it will become plus m1 u1 plus m2 u2, isn't it? So when it comes over here, this one, it will get changed, sign will get changed, so it will be equal to minus this term. When it comes over here, it will become minus m1 u2, and here we are left with m1 plus m2. It can be taken as common, and v2, right? That is m1 u1 plus m1 u1. It will give us twice m1 u1 plus, in this case, u2 can be taken as common, so we are left with m2 minus m1 into u2, right? And here it is m1 plus m2 multiplied by v2. Therefore, students, v2 is equal to m2 minus m1 multiplied by u2 plus twice m1 u1 divided by m1 plus m2, right? So this is the expression for the final velocity of body B after suffering collision. So these are the two very, very important expressions. Now students, please do concentrate on these two expressions. Even if you are able to remember one formula, the second formula can be easily recalled by using a simple logic. What we need to do is simply interchange m1 with m2 and m2 with m1, and then interchange u1 with u2 and u2 with u1. You will get the expression for v2, right? So the point I am making is, even if you are aware of expression for v1, the expression for v2 can easily be obtained simply by interchanging m1 m2 and u1 u2. So these are two very, very important expressions for the final velocities of the two bodies A and B after suffering elastic collision in one dimension. Now students, after deriving the expression for v1 and v2, let us consider the special cases. Let's consider the first case where the two bodies are considered to be of equal masses. That is, let us consider the two bodies under consideration be of equal masses. That is, m1 is equal to m2 is equal to m, say. In such a case, students, if you substitute the value of m1, m2 as m over here, this term gets eliminated. So here we are left with twice, in place of m2 you can write m, and here m plus m, it will give us twice m. That is, v1 is equal to u2. We'll interpret the result also. Okay, and what about v2 then? Again, substitute the value of m1 is equal to m2, so this term gets eliminated. So we are left with twice m u1 divided by m plus m, that will give us twice m. That is, v2 is equal to u1. So what we conclude is, if the two bodies of equal masses suffer elastic collision in one dimension, then after collision, students, the bodies tend to interchange their velocities. So this is the conclusion which we obtain from this, right? I'll elaborate it further. Suppose this is body A, and let us consider this to be body B. And let us consider both the bodies are of equal masses, and they are moving along the same direction with velocities of 5 meters per second, and let body B be traveling with velocity of 2 meters per second. This is before collision. This is suppose before collision. Now students, after suffering elastic collision in one dimension, what happens is they will tend to interchange their velocities. So what will happen is after collision, the body A will start moving with 2 meters per second, while the body B, which was earlier moving with velocity of 2 meters per second, will now, after suffering collision, will start moving with initial velocity of body A, which is 5 meters per second. So this is after collision. So basically, again I repeat the conclusion. Whenever the two bodies of equal masses suffer elastic collision in one dimension, then after suffering collision, the bodies tend to interchange their velocities, isn't it? Let us discuss the second case, that is when the target body, that is body B, is considered to be at rest. That is, we are dealing with this case. Suppose this is body A of mass m1, isn't it? It is moving with initial velocity u1. And students, this is the target body B of mass m2. It is body B and it is considered to be at rest. It is at rest. It means that initial velocity of body B is 0. This is before collision. And after collision, students, let us consider the body of mass m1, that is body A, after suffering collision moves with final velocity v1, and body B of mass m2 after suffering collision starts moving with velocity v2. Clear? This is obviously before collision. This is before collision, and this is after collision. So let us find out the expression for V1 and V2. So we'll make use of these two master expressions, right? Here we need to substitute the value of U2 as 0. So what we get is V1, which is the final velocity of body A after suffering collision with the target body which is at rest. It would be given by U2 gets 0. So this term gets eliminated. So we'll be left with M1 minus M2 divided by M1 plus M2 multiplied by U1, right? And the final velocity acquired by body B after suffering elastic collision in one dimension, when earlier it was at rest. Body B is the target body which is assumed to be at rest. So here again in this expression we are supposed to substitute the value of U2 as 0. So this entire term gets eliminated, so we'll be left with this term only. So V2, it would be equal to twice M1 divided by M1 plus M2 multiplied by U1, right? So these are the expressions for the final velocities of body A and body B in case 2, when the target body B is considered to be at rest. Let us consider the first subcase of case 2. Right? We have considered the target body to be at rest. Then the expression for the final velocities of body A and body B is given by these two expressions. V1 is m1 minus m2 divided by m1 plus m2 into u1, and V2, which is the final velocity of body B after collision, is twice m1 divided by m1 plus m2 into u1. Let's consider the first subcase, that is when both the bodies are of equal masses. So in this case, M1 is equal to M2 is equal to M, say. So substituting these values over here, what we get is V1, M1 minus M2, both are equal, so it will become 0. And V2, it is equal to twice M, M1, M2, both are equal to M, so M plus M, it will become twice M into U1, which implies that V2 is equal to U1. So what we conclude from this is, suppose this is body A and this is body B. Body B is the target body which is assumed to be at rest, and both the bodies are of equal masses. Suppose body A is moving with 10 meters per second and this is the elastic collision in one dimension. So when the body A moving with 10 meter per second strikes the target body which is at rest and of equal mass, then after collision, body A will come at rest while body B will start moving with the same velocity as was possessed by body A. So body B after collision will start moving with 10 meter per second. So students, what we have concluded is when the body A collide against body B of equal mass and body B is the target body which is at rest, then body A should come to rest and body B should move on with the velocity of body A, right? Let us consider second subcase, that is when the mass of body B, which is the target body which is considered to be at rest, is negligible as compared to that of body A. That is, we'll consider mass M2 to be very, very small, infinitesimally small as compared to the body of mass M1. In this case, students, M1 minus M2, it is approximately equal to M1. Now assume mass M1 to be of 1000 kg. Mass M2 is very small, so it can be considered to be 1 kg. So 1000 minus 1, it is 999 exact value. So it can be approximately equated to 1000, which will be equal to M1 only, right? And similarly, M1 plus M2, 1000 plus 1 is 1001, which can be approximately written as 1000 only. So it will become M1. Therefore, substituting these values over here, what we get is V1, it would be equal to M1 minus M2, which can be written as M1 only. M1 plus M2 is M1. It is also M1 into U1. So it implies that V1 is equal to U1. That is, after suffering collision, the final velocity of body A would be equal to the initial velocity of body A. That is, body A after suffering collision will keep on moving with its same velocity, right? And V2, students, twice M1, so it can be written as twice M1 divided by M1 plus M2 is M1 into U1, which implies that V2 is equal to twice U1. That is, the target body which was initially at rest after suffering collision, it will start moving with twice the velocity possessed by body A. So basically, students, in principle, if a moving truck, which is a heavy body, collides against a stationary drum, which is the target body, which is at rest, then the truck would keep on moving with the same velocity, while the drum would be set into motion with a velocity double the velocity of the truck. Right, students? So what we conclude is, when a heavy body A collides against a light body B at rest, then the body A should keep on moving with the same velocity, while body B will start moving with a velocity twice that of body A. Now students, let us consider the third and the final subcase, right? Now let's consider when the mass of body B is very, very large as compared to that of body A. That is, let us consider mass M2 to be very, very large as compared to mass M1. In such a case, students, M1 minus M2. Now here M1 is negligible, so it can be considered to be 1 kg. M2 may be considered to be 1000 kg. So 1 minus 1000 would be minus 999. That can be considered to be minus 1000 kg only. So it can be approximately equated to minus M2. And M1 plus M2, it can be approximately written as M2 only. Therefore, students, substituting these values over here, we get V1 is equal to M1 minus M2. It can be written as minus M2 divided by M1 plus M2. It can be written as M2 multiplied by U1. So what we get is V1 is equal to minus U1, right? So negative sign suggests that the body A, after suffering collision, it will reverse its direction and will keep moving in the reverse direction with the same speed. And students, V2 is equal to, let's substitute the value over here, twice M1 divided by M1 plus M2 multiplied by U1. Now concentrate over here. M1 is negligible, while the denominator M1 plus M2 is very, very large. So numerator approaches to 0, while denominator approaches to very, very large value. So as a result, this fraction approaches to 0. So it is approximately 0, right? That is V2, that is the target body, can be considered to be practically remain at rest only. Clear, students? Okay. So I'll elaborate this with a simple example. What you do is, let us consider a wall to be over here. It's a huge wall, and obviously it is considered to be the target body, which is body B and is at rest. This is a wall. It is the target body B of mass M2, which is at rest. Clear, students? And this is suppose the floor. Now suppose this is a rubber ball. Say this is ball A of mass M1. The mass of this rubber ball is negligible as compared to the mass of this wall, which is at rest. Body B is the target body, right? Suppose a ball is thrown over here with velocity of say 10 meter per second. Clear, students? Now what will happen is, when this rubber ball hits a stationary wall, then the wall will remain at rest, that is V2 will remain 0, while the body, this rubber ball, it will bounce back with the same speed. That is, it will bounce back with the same speed. Bounce back means its direction of motion will get reversed. So that is the significance of this negative sign. So ball A, after suffering collision with ball B, its direction of motion will get reversed and it will tend to move with the same speed, right? So students, we have discussed all the three sub-cases, right? So we have discussed the sub-case when M1 is equal to M2. Then we have discussed sub-case B when M2 is very, very less as compared to M1. And in the third sub-case, we have discussed when M2 is very, very large as compared to M1. So students, we have covered each and every topic of elastic collision in one dimension. Hope you have understood each and every details of this particular topic, right? So that's it for this particular session. Students, it is to remind you that this article is very, very important from examination point of view. This article can definitely come in 5 marks category questions, right? So do prepare well and practice it by writing the entire article, right? So do join me in my next lecture then. Till then, have a nice day and keep yourself fit, healthy, and always keep smiling. Thank you.